everybody, welcome back to another episode of Farmer George. On today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about intercropping. And intercropping is simply when you include different types of plants in a growing area in order to not have to use things like pesticides, for example. The intercropping I'm practicing this year is introducing marigolds and Sweet Alyssum plants to my grow bags. What you see in the subsequent clip is me describing the benefits of alyssum and the benefits of marigold. Hope you enjoy. Let's go check out the grow bags along with the two different types of flowers. Okay, out here in the garden, I'm about to transplant these peppers out of their double cups. And I'm also at the same time going to transplant the alyssum and then the two marigolds on either side. So what I'm going to do first is the peppers are slightly larger than the alyssum, so I want the alyssum directly in the middle of my planters. I'm going to dig a little hole here in the middle. And this is my first year planting alyssum, but one of my friends on the pepper lovers community, his name is Benny, he was doing a little garden video and I noticed these beautiful white plants amongst his plants. I asked him what it was and he told me what it was. I can't remember if he told me why he plants it, but I'm sure he did, and the reason is hoverflies will smell this plant. They hover. I don't know if you know what a hoverfly looks like, but they kind of just hover like almost like a hummingbird, and they go from plant to plant, not like a bumblebee, but they kind of stay above the flower. They don't land on it. It takes a lot of energy, so they take nectar from these flowers, and there's so many flowers, they get a lot of nectar from them, and then they'll lay their eggs on this plant, and their larvae will eat aphids. I learned that a ton of organic farmers in California practice this method amongst their lettuce. It's called intercropping. So we'll dig the hole, and it fits the alyssum. And before putting the plants in, I use mycose. It's a fungus, but it's a beneficial fungus, and I use a tablespoon for these small plants, and then I'll use 2 tablespoons in the little holes before planting my plants or transplanting my plants. And this fungus, what it does, it has a symbiotic relationship with your plants. It helps the plants to absorb the nutrients from the soil much better. And this is my first year using it, so I'm excited to see how it turns out. I do this in all my holes before I put the plants in. And then I just drop the plant in, gently cover it up, and I repeat the process. And I'm using orange marigolds and yellow marigolds. Heard mixed reviews about marigolds. Heard that they can actually attract aphids, but they also bring beneficial bugs to your garden. I'm going to be using these 2 plants to combat the aphids and any other bad insects that might want to harm my plants. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to transplant our peppers, finally. This is that Scotch Brain plant. One of my past episodes, I demonstrated why you should leave leaves when you're pruning, and this is the resulting plant. It's pretty nice, huh? So she's ready to go in the soil. It's pretty nice roots, nothing crazy, but most of the roots are up there. So I'm using a hydroponics liquid nutrients here, and I already have some all-purpose fertilizer in here, but I'm going to just go ahead and sprinkle this out in here and save it. And I'll save the outside cups, but I gotta get the roots out of this cup without damaging the roots as much as possible, so I'm going to chop through these top cups. Just buy more next year. See that? Perfect. It's got a pretty good root system going on. And the other trick I like to do when gardening, I like to take, see how this is a nice little root ball? I like to take the outside solo cup
and dig a hole with the solo cup so that the root ball fits exactly into it. This way you know exactly the size hole you need. So it fits perfectly right in there, but you can't forget the mycos or mycos. And I'm going to use 2 tablespoons for each of my peppers because they're a little bit bigger. They're more valuable. And we're going to put it right in. Kind of break up the root ball a tiny bit because the roots have to spread out and grow. But just cover the plant up with soil. You can't even see it because it's so lush. But it's flushed with the soil in the bed. And there you go. That plant is done. And I planted the flowers first because I knew the peppers are going to be a little bit larger, and it's easier to plant the larger plants on top of the smaller plants. So now that you've seen that done, I'll turn this back on once we're done, and you'll see the finished product. So I have my 2 Scotch Brains, and then these are my 2 Carolina Reapers, the current hottest pepper in the world. Anyway, this is the last step, and that is to mulch. So I'll put some mulch down and I'll be right back. And presto, we're done. And not only does mulch look pretty, but it helps keep the water in the soil more. It doesn't evaporate, especially when it gets into the dead of summer when the sun is beating down on your plants. It'll help retain the water. That's the main thing. It'll also help deter weeds from growing, and I'm hoping that no insects will decide to lay eggs in my soil either. So there you have it, the Scotch Brains and the Carolina Reapers, accompanied by some marigolds and the alyssum. Okay, we're back out on the balcony, and it's Wednesday, May 22nd, and this is the grow pot that I was working on about a week and a half ago. And we have just not had any sunshine whatsoever. I think we've had one day where we got a few hours of sun. And we're actually getting a little bit of sun right now, so that's why I wanted to pop out here and show you guys what it looks like with some nice sunshine. So the marigolds, they are blooming, and this one didn't have any blooms on it for like a week, and I'm happy that for this video that you get a nice little orange bloom. So yeah, this is about a week and a half of progress with very little sun, but the plants have taken very well despite being pretty crowded. I want to have a little bit more variety this year in peppers, and as you can see, these plants are all pretty compact together. I came out on the balcony today, and the alyssum, it's actually called Sweet Alyssum, and it smells really fragrant on my balcony, and I was like, what is that smell? I was curious as to where the smell was coming from, and then I bent over and smelled my flowers, and I know what marigolds smell like because I've grown those before, but the alyssum just has this very fragrant, nice smell that hopefully soon, once the sun comes out a little bit more and more frequently, we'll start to have a little bit more insects over here. I'm hoping to attract those hoverflies. I saw a couple downstairs off the balcony, but none so far up here on the plants. There's a Carolina Reaper. It's doing really well. It's got a lot of bushiness to it. Here's the larger Carolina Reaper. Got a few buds right there, ready to set some flowers. And this Scotch Brain is just ginormous, and you can see it's got a ton of side shoots ready to explode. So, and that Scotch Brain in the back is just another great plant, just ready to take off. Once we get some days strung together here with some better sunlight, we should be taking off.
And we're back. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the little week and a half long update. Even though the plants didn't show too much progress, they showed a little bit given the amount of rain we've had and the limited direct sunlight we've had. And I also hope you learned a little bit about intercropping and the importance of it, especially if you want to try to keep a more organic garden. If If you liked the video, please click my logo when it pops up right here. Give me a like and shoot me a comment. Thanks again for watching. I'm Farmer George. Let's share and grow together. See you next time.